All right. The Americans. Season 1, Episode 10. Oh, boy. Um, Take a deep breath because this episode was interesting. I can tell you that much. So the inevitable has finally happened, which I thought it would have at least happened a few seasons from now, but it's happened now. Um, and also, I finally started to remember some of the characters' names. So we've got Stan, which is probably my favorite character so far. He's the FBI agent that lives across the street from, I think he's across the street. I don't know. He's the neighbor to Elizabeth and Philip, the two KGB agents. So there's a chain of events that are started because now in the last episode, Stan's partner was killed unexpectedly and violently, right? So now Stan's on the warpath along with all the other FBI agents. They get a lucky break. As his partner's dying, he takes his ring off and shoves it in the car, like somewhere where it's not obvious that it can be seen. Now, in the hopes that the car will be found. So when the car is found, the ring's found. Boom. Chain of events. They start running down the usual. Well, they start running down everybody connected to where the car was last housed and who gave him the car. Blah blah blah. And you start to see just how cold and how much of a. I hate to give him a name like that just because I love dogs so much, but how much of a pit bull. No, I'll give him that. He's definitely a pit bull. There's no other dog like it, I don't think. Well, the Malinois probably, but a dog that has a lot of drive. I'll leave it at that. I won't call it a pit bull. I won't call him a pit bull. I don't want to give him a pit bull is a bad name, but a dog that has a lot of drive. He's just like that. He's not going to stop till his mission is completed, along with all the rest of the FBI agents on this particular case because one of their own got killed. So that leads them back to the guys who were part of like the civil rights movement or something like that. I guess a violent offspring or something like that, right? But now they're working with the KGB. Two cheesy moments come out of this situation. The first one is Elizabeth goes to meet the guy, the head of the group, and from previous episodes we know that these two had a relationship with one another. So they're sitting in the car, rain's pitter-pattering on the roof, they're looking into each other's eyes, waiting for someone to say something that they've been longing to hear and so they could run away together and be happy or whatever the case is. Doesn't happen. I guess they didn't want to get that cheesy. And they won't have a show either. So he gets out the car and walks away. It winds up, they're throwing around this idea of him moving to Moscow, which is just a fairy tale. There's no way, there's no magical ticket that this guy's going to get and wind up flying to Moscow and be happy. No, not even be happy. He's going to be alive. They're going to kill him. What did they do to the last person they promised to move to Moscow? They made it look like she OD'd on heroin. The girl never touched heroin. Okay. The second cheesy moment comes when he's like, "Oh, you know, I've lived my life up to this point. I've done all I wanted to do. I'm going to go out in a blaze of glory or something like that." What they lacked, as the show has a complete lack to do or failed to do, was to build that character up to make that believable. For some reason, I guess as a viewer, we're supposed to just think that this guy would love nothing more to go out like a warrior. Where's that idea coming from? It's just, they just threw it out there. The peak of the cheesiness is, as he's in the shootout, they're putting a sad song behind it and they do it in slow-mo and then he dies. I'm like, okay, here we go. Right? Probably contract dispute, most likely. Right? You think so? I don't know how Hollywood works. Anyway, I talk about Stan and how cold and calculated he is on his way to to get to that point to figure out who actually stole it. I just love that character more and more. I think he's like a psychopath, probably. I hope I'm using that word right. Or I hope he is a psychopath. Wait, that came out wrong. No, I hope I'm using that word right. That's what I mean. I hope. Whatever. Whatever. So, where's I going with that? Where was I going with that? Yeah. There's a brief moment close towards the end of this episode where Stan opens up just a little bit towards his wife, and she takes that opportunity to plead with him to leave his job. It's like, oh, just me and you. Let's just run away with our son and just be happy. Living in a fairy tale. She's caught up in her love for this guy. Lost in a fairy tale. She's failing to see that her son's a piece of shit, or is the makings of one, and her husband is a psychopath. Right? But she still wants to be happy with him. Can't fault her for wanting that, though. I think I shouldn't fault that character for wanting that, because I think that's everybody's right to pursue what they feel would make them happiest. Even if it's a bit delusional, I guess. Because it's not affecting me. That makes the most sense. I talk about... Oh, I guess I should dive a little deeper into Philip and Elizabeth. Now, they're still separated, which... I think I talked about that in the last upload I did on this video. So you can see my whole face now, so it won't just be the bottom. That's better, right? I think I talked about in the last episode my feelings on that, because I come from a single parent household and all that stuff. I think I'm never going to change my opinion on that. Another thing is, this is a fictional show, and to add to that, they're in a relationship, but they're also partners, and they're also partners as undercover agents. So if that doesn't throw a monkey wrench in everything, I don't know what will, right? So they're on a separation, and the kids are pretty much acting up. And I think Elizabeth, her character, she's getting to a breaking point where she might just snap and start beating the shit out of these kids, which is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm laughing because, hey, it is what it is. But there's always something there to kind of like, there's always like a buffer. Philip may walk in unexpectedly or something like that, or something may arise and she'll have to restrain herself a little bit. Because the kids are pretty much, their opinion on the situation is pretty clear. You guys shouldn't be separated. Which I don't think they should be either. I mean, but there was a trust broke between the both of them. She asked him to be straight up about it, and he didn't. And what happens in the dark always comes to the light. And she's like, I can't trust you even as a partner, which is understandable. So you don't belong here. He's like, okay, fine, I'll leave. I'll do whatever I can to make this family happy. I know every time I bring it up, I'm just going to dwell on it a little bit too much. What else happened in this episode? What else happens? That's pretty much it. I don't want to say that it's uneventful. Still was a pretty interesting episode. Watching Stan work, it gets me more and more giddy about what could be happening. What's possible that's going to happen later on in the series. 2 Russians, guy dies. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. So if you like me trying to remember what I just watched, go check out some of my other videos. Breaking Bad, Mandalorian, which I don't like. I did the miniseries on Chernobyl, Godfather Harlem, The Wire. Well, some of those are ongoing, but check those videos out. I also have some movies that I've reviewed on there as well. And do yourself a favor. Oh, God, it sounds so cheesy, but whatever. Subscribe. It's not that hard. I don't think you want to get notifications, but you'll enjoy them. If you watch this long, you'll enjoy them. So subscribe.